Can you talk about some of your experiences, challenges that you've had collaborating with mix engineers on things that you've produced?
Sure, absolutely.
It's a little different than the artist side.
Yeah,
probably.
that Mark Wessel, man, he's a can of snakes. No, I'm just kidding. Mark is great. I've done a lot of records with. I've been blessed to work with a lot of fabulous mix engineers, some of whom teach online courses at Berklee Music.
Right.
Rich Mendelson as well, and you know, and I've. Okay, so challenges. Let's do this. Let me put it this way. Let me give you advice on how to care and feeding of your mix engineer. First off, don't sit there the whole time. You know, the luxury of having a mix engineer is that you don't have to pollute your ears by being there the whole time. What I would recommend if you're working with a mix engineer is give them some good references. You know, give them, don't be shy about saying, you know, I really love the drums on this record, I really love the guitar on this record, I really love the vocals on this record, you know, or I really love, you know, the mixes of Tom Lord Alge, who has interviews in this course, by the way. Or I love, you know, the mixes of Gary Pachoza or whoever. Don't be afraid of saying that. Then I usually will come to the studio. I'll be there at the beginning, and we'll just have a conversation. We might listen to the demo. We'll talk about it a little bit. And you could do this over email or over Skype or over the phone, too. But we'll talk about it. Then I will go away. I'll say, how long do you need until you're ready for me? And they'll usually give me some kind of a number, you know. You know, give me, you know, why don't you come back at about 4 o'clock or something like that. You know, so then I'll come back at that time, at that appointed time, and I will not walk into the studio. I don't want to hear a sliver of the mix until they're ready for me to hear it. Okay. So I may wind up waiting. I did a record with Carl Beatty one time where you know, he had a lot of trouble getting the monitors right at the beginning of the mix. So we, you know, it wasn't 2 in the morning until we actually had something to listen to, and it was maybe 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning by the time we could bring the band in. And that happens sometimes. But I don't want to be in the room listening to things over and over again, because it's that first listen, you know, that you really get the best information from. And so I will, once the engineer is ready to play it for me, I will come in, I'll sit down, I'll have my legal pad right there so I can take notes, and I'll hit play and I'll just jot down little notes. It's really important to jot down notes so you're not having to try and remember all these things.
Right.
And then, you know, maybe I'll listen to it one more time and jot down a few more notes, and then we'll just march through, you know, the issues that I have. We'll just march through those things. Now these days, of course, you know, a lot of mix engineers are at different places. I just mixed this record. I just produced and engineered a record for Tubby Love, and we used a mix engineer in New York named Jocko, and so he would send us the mixes. I would essentially do the same thing. I would, you know, I would go into my project studio and I would turn off my phone and I would, you know, clear my mind and I would listen and I would take notes.
Right.
And then I would just email him, you know, all of the, you know, the list of specific things that I of issues I had. And, you know, he would get that. Maybe he'd call me on the phone and say, what did you mean by that? You know, we'd talk about it a little bit, and then he'd do updates and send them to me that way.
Great.
But that's, you know, I love the luxury of having a mix engineer. You know, so many times these days, you know, the same person is going to engineer it and mix it because there's just not the budget, you know, to do both. But it's great to, I love working with mix engineers when I have the budget,